Welcome back to my channel. Today we explore the value of specific coins, the most valuable Lincoln Old Wheat penny coins value in market in dollar. So let's get started.
First up today, we're going to talk about one of the most unique and easily recognizable coins in American numismatics, the 1943 Abraham Lincoln steel penny with D mint mark that's in dirty condition with some scratches. Even though this example shows wear and surface dirt, it still holds significance and value in today's coin market. Steel pennies have a special place in the hearts of collectors because they were only minted for a short time and represent a fascinating moment in U.S. history. The Lincoln penny was first introduced in 1909 to honor President Abraham Lincoln's 100th birthday. It became the first U.S. coin to feature a real historical figure, and it went on to become one of the most collected and studied coin series in the world. In 1943, something unusual happened. The United States was deeply involved in World War II, and copper was needed for ammunition and other wartime materials. To save copper for the war effort, the U.S. Mint issued pennies made of zinc-coated steel instead of the traditional copper alloy. That change only lasted for 1 year, making 1943 steel pennies one of the most distinctive issues of the entire Lincoln Wheat penny series. A 1943 steel penny with D mint mark tells us the coin was struck at the Denver Mint. D is located beneath the date and helps collectors determine where it was made. Even though standard steel pennies are still quite common because millions were produced in 1943. Steel pennies are made of a thin layer of zinc plated over a steel core. Because of this, they are magnetic and much harder than normal copper pennies. Unfortunately, this combination also makes them more susceptible to surface wear and rust if they are not stored in dry conditions. Dirty condition usually means the coin has surface buildup, grime, toning, or corrosion from long-term circulation or storage. Some scratches are common, especially when a coin has been carried in pockets, jars, or drawers for decades. These surface imperfections reduce a coin's eye appeal and typically lower its value compared to cleaner examples. When describing the grade as dirty condition, collectors usually mean the coin shows visible soil or discoloration that hasn't been cleaned but rather accumulated naturally. It can also mean areas of dark toning or uneven surface color. Scratches on a steel penny can come from contact with other coins or rough surfaces in circulation. In most cases, this doesn't destroy a coin's collectible value, but it does mean that the coin will be valued lower than a cleaner, more attractive example. Now, let's talk about what this coin is worth in today's auction and collector market. A 1943 Abraham Lincoln steel penny with D mint mark in dirty condition with some scratches typically sells for around 25 cents to $2. Most examples in circulated and dirty condition fall closer to the lower end of that range, often selling for around 50 cents or less. Coins that still have readable details and a solid strike may reach closer to $1 or $2 if they have collectible appeal despite their surface issues. Eye appeal matters a lot in this grade. A coin with less distracting surface marks, even dirty, can perform better at auction than one with heavy rust or pitting. It's important to understand that although 1943 Denver steel pennies are common in circulation grades, the real collector interest lies in unusual varieties. One of the most famous rarities is the 1943 copper penny error, where a small number of 1943 pennies were struck on copper planchets instead of steel. Those coins are extremely rare and can bring tens of thousands of dollars or more at auction. But a standard steel penny, even with dirt and scratches, remains affordable and collectible for most hobbyists. Collectors today enjoy steel pennies for their link to history. These coins circulated through wartime America, passing through countless hands in everyday transactions. Holding a steel penny is like holding a direct piece of life from that era, and that historical context gives even dirty or scratched examples a story worth telling. If you ever find a steel penny, one simple test you can do at home is the magnet test. Since the coins are steel with a zinc coating, they will stick to a magnet. A copper 1943 penny, by contrast, will not. Magnets don't lie, and this is one of the easiest ways to distinguish genuine steel from other coins. When storing steel pennies, it's best to keep them in dry, stable conditions. Humidity and moisture accelerate rust, which can degrade a coin's surface and reduce its value. Avoid cleaning them with harsh chemicals or abrasives, because cleaning can remove original surface metal and leave scratches that reduce collector appeal.
The 1995 USA Washington $quarter coin with D mint mark is a fascinating piece of American currency, especially for collectors who appreciate coins with unique characteristics like color shading, invisible circulation history. This coin, struck at the Denver Mint as indicated by the D mint mark, is described as being in good condition with a red color shade and some scratches. While it may not appear to be highly valuable at first glance, it carries both historical and numismatic interest, and understanding its background and composition helps explain its place in today's market. The Washington quarter has been a staple of American coinage since it was first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. The obverse design features a detailed profile of Washington facing left, with Liberty inscribed above his head, "In God We Trust" to the left, and the date, in this case 1995, at the bottom. The reverse shows a bold American eagle with wings spread wide, perched on a bundle of arrows with olive branches beneath, symbolizing both strength and peace. This design, originally created by John Flanagan, has remained familiar and iconic throughout the series, giving collectors a sense of continuity across decades of production. One of the first things to clarify about this coin is its composition. While it is often described as a silver quarter, it is important to note that regular circulation quarters produced after 1964, including the 1995 issue, are not made of silver. They are instead composed of a copper-nickel clad structure, which consists of a pure copper core sandwiched between two outer layers of a copper-nickel alloy. This composition gives the coin a silvery appearance, which sometimes creates confusion. Only special collector's proof coins or silver commemorative issues from the U.S. Mint contain actual silver, while standard circulation quarters from the 1990s are entirely clad coins. The 1995 D quarter was struck at the Denver Mint, which is one of the United States Mint's primary production facilities. That year, the Denver Mint produced hundreds of millions of quarters, making the 1995 D a common coin in circulation. The red color shade you mentioned is noteworthy because it refers to the coin's natural copper tones showing through the clad surface, giving the coin a warmer, reddish hue. Over time, coins develop color variations due to exposure to air, handling, and environmental conditions. Collectors often find these natural color tones appealing as they reflect the history and character of the coin. Condition plays a crucial role in the coin's market value. Your coin is described as being in good condition with some scratches, which means it has been circulated and shows signs of wear. In coin grading terms, a good coin retains the major design elements but exhibits noticeable flattening of details and surface marks. Scratches and minor nicks are common on circulated coins and indicate that this coin has been used in everyday transactions for many years. While this slightly reduces collector appeal, it still has value as a historical piece and as part of a complete date and mint collection. The value of a 1995 D quarter in good condition is modest due to its commonly in-clad composition. In today's auction market, these coins typically sell for their face value of 25 cents, up to about $1 for coins with attractive color or minimal wear. Coins with unusual or striking red color shades may attract slightly higher interest from collectors, especially if the natural toning enhances the overall appearance. However, because the 1995 D quarter is a common circulation coin, its value generally does not exceed a few dollars unless it has been professionally graded or shows rare mint errors.
Higher values are only seen for coins in uncirculated condition or those certified as mint state by professional grading companies like PCGS or NGC. A 1995 D quarter graded MS65 or higher might sell for $5 to $10, while top-grade examples in exceptional condition could reach $20 or more. Rare mint errors, such as double dies, off-center strikes, or coins struck on the wrong planchet, can significantly increase value, sometimes reaching hundreds of dollars. However, these occurrences are uncommon, and most 1995 D quarters remain in the range of face value to a few dollars. Even though this coin is not made of silver and is not particularly valuable in terms of money, it remains an interesting piece of American numismatic history. It reflects the ongoing circulation of Washington quarters in the 1990s and serves as a tangible link to the everyday currency used by millions of Americans. The scratches and color variation tell the story of its life, showing how it has traveled through countless hands and transactions over the past 3 decades. Collectors appreciate coins like this, not only for their potential monetary value, but for the history and character they carry.
Next up, the 1943 Abraham Lincoln steel penny without a mint mark, a coin that stands out as one of the most interesting issues in American numismatics. This particular example is in good condition, showing some scratches and signs of wear, but it still holds significance both historically and among collectors. Steel pennies are unique, instantly recognizable, and tell a story that goes far beyond their monetary value. The year 1943 was unusual for pennies because the United States was fully engaged in World War II. Copper was needed for military production, particularly for ammunition. To conserve copper, the U.S. Mint produced pennies using zinc-coated steel for the first time. These coins are magnetic, silver gray in color, and instantly distinguishable from the traditional copper pennies. They were only produced for 1 year, which makes them historically significant and highly collectible, even in circulated condition. A 1943 steel penny without a mint mark indicates that the coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. Philadelphia coins of this year did not carry a mint mark, while the Denver and San Francisco mints produced pennies with their respective D and S marks. Philadelphia produced millions of steel pennies in 1943, so while they are common, they are still highly sought after by collectors, particularly for completing date and mint mark sets. The metal composition of the steel penny is primarily steel coated with a thin layer of zinc. This combination was effective for circulation, but also made the coins more susceptible to rust and surface wear over time. Good condition coins typically show moderate circulation wear, with the high points of Lincoln's portrait and the wheat stalks slightly flattened, but overall design features still clearly visible. Scratches and minor surface marks are common, reflecting decades of handling, and dirt or toning may also be present. These imperfections do not destroy the collectible value, but can influence price depending on severity and eye appeal. Now let's discuss the value of this coin in today's auction market. A 1943 Abraham Lincoln steel penny without a mint mark, in good condition with some scratches, generally sells for around 25 cents to $2. Most examples in everyday circulation and good condition sell toward the lower end of this range, often around 50 cents, while coins that maintain clear details and better overall eye appeal can fetch $1 to $2. The Philadelphia 1943 steel penny is common in circulated grades, but it remains desirable to collectors due to its historical context and iconic appearance. It is important to understand that while standard 1943 steel pennies are not rare, they carry tremendous historical significance. These coins circulated during a major wartime period, passing through countless hands, making them small pieces of tangible history. Collectors enjoy steel pennies for this connection to World War II, as well as their unique look and magnetic property. A simple magnet test can confirm a steel penny, as copper pennies of this year will not stick. Collectors also need to be cautious with cleaning. Steel pennies should never be cleaned aggressively because harsh chemicals or scrubbing can remove the zinc coating or leave scratches, significantly reducing value.
Even coins in dirty condition or with surface scratches are often preferred to cleaned coins, as they retain their original surfaces in authentic patina. Despite the wear and scratches, a good condition steel penny still demonstrate important design features. Lincoln's face remains identifiable, his hair and beard are visible, though slightly flattened, and the wheat stalks on the reverse remain legible. Even with dirt or minor marks, these coins tell a story of daily life in 1943, connecting modern collectors to ordinary transactions during a time of national challenge.
Next up, the 1980 USA Washington $quarter coin with D mint mark is a coin that captures a period in American coinage history when the Washington Quarter Series was firmly established as a staple of everyday currency. This particular coin is described as being in very fine condition, with some scratches, which indicates it has circulated but still retains much of its design detail. While it is not made of silver, it remains an interesting piece for collectors because of its historical significance, condition, and role in the continuing legacy of the Washington Quarter. A common misconception about coins from this era is that they contain silver. While the coin has a silver-like appearance, the 1980 Washington Quarter is not made of silver. Silver quarters were only minted for circulation through 1964. Starting in 1965, the United States Mint switched to a copper-nickel clad composition, which consists of a pure copper core sandwiched between two outer layers of copper-nickel. This gives the coin its bright, silvery look while making it practical and durable for daily circulation. As a result, the 1980 quarter, like all regular circulation quarters from 1965 onward, contains no silver and is considered a copper-nickel-clad coin. The D mint mark on this coin indicates that it was produced at the Denver Mint. In 1980, both the Denver and Philadelphia mints produced quarters for circulation, with Philadelphia coins carrying no mint mark. Millions of 1980 D quarters were struck, making it a very common date in circulation. The coin's condition and eye appeal play a significant role in determining collector interest, as the sheer number of coins produced makes rarity a non-factor for most examples. Your coin is described as being in very fine condition with some scratches. In coin grading terms, very fine means that while the coin has moderate wear on the higher points, most details are still sharp. Washington's hair, facial features, and the eagle's feathers on the reverse remain clear and defined. The scratches indicate that the coin has been circulated, which is typical for coins of this age, but they do not severely detract from its collectible value. Coins in very fine condition are popular among collectors who want coins with full design details without paying the premium for uncirculated examples. In today's auction and collector market, a 1980 D Washington quarter in very fine condition generally sells for around $1.50, reflecting its status as a common circulation coin. Coins with particularly attractive eye appeal or natural toning may sell for slightly more, but the majority trade near face value. Higher prices are reserved for uncirculated coins or those that have been professionally graded by companies like PCGS or NGC. For example, a 1980 D quarter graded MS65 might sell for $700 to $1,000, while top-grade examples in MS67 or higher could fetch $1,500 or more. Rare mint errors such as off-center strikes or double dies are sought after and can significantly increase value, sometimes reaching several $100s, but these occurrences are uncommon and not representative of typical circulation coins. Despite its modest monetary value, the 1980 D Washington quarter has historical significance. It represents a period when copper-nickel-clad quarters were standard in circulation, when coins from the Denver Mint were widely distributed, and when Washington's image continued to be an enduring symbol of American currency. Each scratch and mark tells a story of the coin's life in circulation, reflecting decades of use in commerce and everyday transactions. Collectors and history enthusiasts often appreciate coins like this not only for their numismatic value, but also for the tangible connection they provide to a specific time and place in American history.
Next up today, we are going to talk about a classic piece of American coinage, the 1950 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny with a D mint mark in fine condition with some scratches. This coin may look like small pocket change at first glance, but it carries decades of history and has value to collectors who love Lincoln pennies and U.S. coinage from the mid-20th century. Coins like this connect us to moments in everyday life long before digital payments, when pennies were used for small purchases, savings jars, and pocket change. A 1950 Lincoln wheat penny with D mint mark tells us that this coin was struck at the Denver Mint. The little letter D appears under the date and identifies its origin. Denver was a major producer of Lincoln cents during this period, and many of the pennies that circulated across the country in the early 1950s were struck there. Although the 1950 D penny is not considered rare in terms of mintage numbers, it remains an essential piece for collectors completing date and mint mark sets or anyone interested in the post-war era of U.S. coinage. The metal composition of the 1950 Lincoln wheat penny is primarily copper, with small amounts of tin and zinc. After World War II ended, the U.S. Mint returned to its standard copper alloy composition, and the pennies from this era are known for their durability and classic appearance. Over time, copper pennies naturally darken and develop a brown or reddish-brown tone, especially when they have been in circulation for many years. Small scratches and surface marks are common on circulated coins and are usually expected for coins that were once everyday money. When a coin is described as being in fine condition, it means that it has noticeable wear from circulation, but the major design elements remain distinguishable. For this 1950 D penny, Lincoln's portrait still shows a clear outline, though the high points, like the cheek and hair, may be flattened from use. The date and motto, "In God We Trust," remain readable, even if less sharp than on a higher-grade coin. On the reverse, the wheat stalks show moderate wear, but the overall design is still identifiable. Some scratches and surface marks may be visible, but they do not overwhelm the coin's overall appearance. Now let's talk about value in today's auction and collector market. A 1950 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny with D mint mark in fine condition with some scratches generally sells for around 20 cents to $1 in today's market. Most examples in this grade fall within this range because so many were minted, and many survive. Coins with more noticeable eye appeal or more even color can attract buyers closer to the higher end of the range, while those with heavier scratches or dull surfaces tend to be valued closer to the lower end. It is important to understand that for common-date Lincoln wheat pennies like the 1950 D, the market places much greater emphasis on condition and eye appeal than on rarity. A coin in better condition, with strong design detail and more attractive color, will almost always sell for more than a similar coin with heavy wear, distracting marks, or uneven toning. In fine condition, a 1950 D penny still retains clear design elements, making it a solid choice for many collectors. Collectors often include coins like the 1950 D wheat penny in date and mint mark sets or educational collections. Because this coin was part of everyday circulation for decades, it carries real history and connects collectors to the experience of everyday life in the United States during the early 1950s. This was a period of economic growth and change, and pennies like this moved through pockets, cash registers, and savings jars across the country. Color also affects collector interest and value. Most circulated 1950 wheat pennies are classified as brown, which is typical for coins that have aged naturally from handling and environmental exposure. Some coins retain hints of red or red-brown toning, which usually appear only on lightly circulated pieces, and these examples can sometimes bring a small premium if they are attractive. However, coins in fine condition with uniform brown toning remain solid choices for collections due to their historical connection and approachable price point. Collectors are also advised not to clean their coins with harsh chemicals or abrasives. Cleaning can remove original surface metal and leave visible scratches or unnatural marks, which significantly reduce collector value. Even coins with some scratches and circulation wear are often preferred over cleaned coins because they retain original surfaces and authentic character.
Next up, the 1970 USA Washington $quarter coin without a mint mark is a fascinating example of everyday American currency from the late 20th century. This particular coin is described as being in extra fine condition, with some scratches, showing that it has circulated but has retained much of its original detail. While it is not made of silver, it remains a coin of interest to collectors because of its historical context, its condition, and its place within the long-running Washington Quarter series. A common misconception about coins from this era is that they are silver. While the 1970 quarter may have a silver-like appearance, it is not made of silver. Silver quarters were only produced for circulation up until 1964. Beginning in 1965, the U.S. Mint switched to a copper-nickel-clad composition, consisting of a pure copper core sandwiched between two layers of copper and nickel. This composition gives the coin a bright, silvery surface while making it affordable and practical for everyday circulation. As a result, the 1970 quarter, like all quarters struck for circulation between 1965 and 1979, contains no silver and is considered a clad coin. The absence of a mint mark is also significant. From 1965 through 1967, the U.S. Mint removed mint marks on coins to discourage hoarding during the transition away from silver coinage. By 1970, the Philadelphia Mint had resumed production of coins without a mint mark, while coins from Denver would carry a D and proof coins from San Francisco would carry an S. This means that your 1970 quarter without a mint mark was produced in Philadelphia, which was standard for that year. Philadelphia minted millions of quarters in 1970, making it a very common date in circulation, though condition and eye appeal still play a large role in determining collector interest. Your coin is described as being in extra fine condition with some scratches, which is considered a relatively high grade for a circulated coin. Extra fine means that only minor wear is present on the high points of the design. Most of Washington's hair and the details of the eagle's feathers remain clearly visible. The scratches indicate normal circulation, and while they slightly reduce aesthetic appeal, they do not remove the coin from being collectible. Coins in extra fine condition are often sought after by collectors who are building date and mint sets and prefer examples that retain most of the original detail without paying for an uncirculated coin. In today's auction and collector market, a 1970 Washington quarter in extra fine condition generally sells for $100, with some coins fetching slightly more if the eye appeal is strong or if the coin exhibits attractive natural toning. Since this coin is relatively common, it is not rare, and most examples are easily obtainable. Higher values are reserved for coins in uncirculated or mint state condition. A professionally graded 1970 quarter in MS65 or higher could sell for $5 to $20, and top-grade examples in MS67 or above can bring even higher prices. Rare mint errors, such as double dies or off-center strikes, can also increase value significantly, sometimes reaching hundreds of dollars, but these are uncommon and do not represent typical circulation coins. Although the 1970 quarter is not made of silver and relatively common, it carries historical significance. It reflects a period when the U.S. Mint had fully transitioned to copper-nickel-clad coins, when coins without mint marks were common, and when coins like this were used in everyday transactions across the country. Each scratch and mark tells a story of its journey through decades of circulation. Coins like this provide collectors and history enthusiasts a tangible connection to the everyday lives of people in the early 1970s.
Next up, the 1957 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny with D mint mark. This coin, in very fine condition, even with some scratches, still holds interest and value among collectors. Lincoln pennies are some of the most widely collected coins in the world, and examples from the 1950s are especially appealing because they carry the look and feel of everyday money from the mid-20th century. The Lincoln Wheat Penny series was first introduced in 1909 to honor President Abraham Lincoln on the centennial of his birth. It was the first United States coin to feature a real historical figure rather than an abstract symbol, and it quickly became one of the most enduring designs in U.S. numismatics. The obverse features Lincoln's portrait facing right, conveying strength and dignity, while the reverse shows two stylized wheat stalks framing the denomination in the words 1 cent and United States of America. This wheat design was used until 1958, making it one of the longest-running and most recognizable series in American coinage history. A 1957 wheat penny with a D mint mark tells us this coin was struck at the Denver Mint, indicated by the small letter D beneath the date. Denver was one of the primary mints producing Lincoln cents during the 1950s, and many coins from this era were circulated widely across the United States. The mint mark adds a layer of interest for collectors because many coin collections are built by date and mint mark, requiring examples from each mint to complete the set. The metal composition of the 1957 wheat penny is the familiar copper alloy used during most of the series' lifespan. This coin contains mostly copper, with small amounts of tin and zinc to strengthen the metal. After decades of circulation, copper pennies naturally develop a brown or reddish-brown color due to oxidation and handling. When a coin is in very fine condition, it shows light to moderate wear on the higher points of the design, but strong overall detail remains, and the major design elements are easy to see and enjoy. Now let's talk about the value of this coin in today's auction and collector market. A 1957 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny with D mint mark in very fine condition with some scratches typically sells for around $7 to $15. Most examples in this grade fall within this range because they retain strong design details while still showing the character and wear expected of a circulated coin. Coins with more attractive surfaces, evenly distributed wear, and fewer distracting marks may fetch toward the higher end of this range when sold in an auction or private sale. Examples with heavier scratches or less eye appeal tend to be closer to the lower end. It's important to understand that while the 1957 D wheat penny is not rare in terms of mintage, condition matters a great deal when determining its value. Coins in lower circulated grades, like good or fine, often sell for modest amounts, but coins in higher circulated grades, such as very fine or extremely fine, are more desirable because they retain more of the original design details and offer better visual appeal. Collectors who build date and mint mark sets often look for coins that strike a balance between original detail and affordable price, and a very fine 1957 D penny often fits that niche well. Color and surface quality also influence collector interest. Most circulated 1957 pennies are classified as brown, which is standard for coins that have aged naturally from handling and environmental exposure. Some coins retain slight hints of red or red-brown toning, which usually appear only on lightly circulated examples, and these may bring a small premium if they are attractive and well-balanced. However, coins in consistent brown surfaces with even wear are perfectly acceptable and enjoy steady demand among collectors. Collectors should also avoid cleaning coins with harsh chemicals, abrasives, or tools. Cleaning can remove original surface metal and leave the coin looking unnatural, which significantly reduces its collectible value. Even coins with some scratches and light wear are generally preferred in their original state rather than being cleaned or polished.
Next up, the 1966 USA Washington $quarter coin without a mint mark is an interesting piece of American coinage, representing a period of transition in the U.S. mint's history. This particular coin is described as being in fine condition with some scratches, meaning it has seen circulation but still retains its basic design details. While it is not made of silver and is relatively common, it carries historical significance and provides collectors with insight into coin production in the mid-1960s. A common misconception about coins from this era is that they are silver. The 1966 Washington quarter, however, is not silver. Silver quarters were only produced for circulation up until 1964. Starting in 1965, the U.S. Mint replaced silver with a copper-nickel clad composition, which consists of a pure copper core sandwiched between two layers of copper-nickel. This gives the coin a silvery appearance, but it contains no silver. The 1966 quarter is a fully clad coin, like all regular circulation quarters produced between 1965 and 1970, and it is made for everyday use, rather than for investment in silver. The lack of a mint mark on this coin is also historically significant. From 1965 through 1967, the U.S. Mint removed all mint marks from coins to discourage hoarding during the transition away from silver coinage. This means that all 1966 Washington quarters were struck without a mint mark, regardless of whether they came from the Philadelphia or Denver mints. As a result, a 1966 quarter without a mint mark is completely normal and expected and does not add any rarity to the coin. Your coin is described as being in fine condition with some scratches, indicating moderate circulation wear. In coin grading terms, fine means that the high points of the design, such as Washington's hair and the eagle's feathers, show noticeable wear, but the main features are still clear. Scratches and minor surface damage are common in coins that have been used in everyday transactions for decades, and while they slightly reduce collector appeal, they do not remove the coin from being collectible altogether. A coin in fine condition is generally considered collectible for historical or educational purposes, even if it is not valuable in terms of money. In today's auction and collector market, a 1966 Washington quarter in fine condition is relatively modest in value. Because millions of these coins were produced, they are widely available and do not carry a significant premium. In most cases, a coin like this will sell for around 25 cents to $1, depending on eye appeal and the severity of scratches. Coins with particularly attractive toning or lighter wear may sell for slightly more, but these are exceptions rather than the rule. The coin's value is primarily historical and educational rather than financial. Higher values are only achieved for coins in uncirculated or mint state condition. A 1966 quarter graded MS65 or higher by a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC can sell for $5 to $20, while coins in exceptionally high grades or with rare mint errors such as off-center strikes can bring even higher prices. These rare examples are collectible because of their scarcity and condition, but the vast majority of 1966 quarters remain in the range of face value to a few dollars, depending on condition. Even though this coin may not be particularly valuable, it carries historical significance. It represents a period when the U.S. Mint transitioned away from silver coinage, when quarters were struck without mint marks, and when millions of Americans used these coins daily. Each scratch and mark tells a small part of the coin's history, showing how it traveled through countless hands over decades. Coins like this connect collectors and history enthusiasts to the everyday life of past generations, preserving a tangible link to the mid-1960s.
Next up, the 1946 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny with D mint mark in good condition with some scratches. This coin may seem like small change, but it carries decades of history and continues to be collected and appreciated by coin enthusiasts around the world. Coins like this connect us to everyday life in the past and give us a tangible link to ordinary moments in American history. A 1946 Lincoln wheat penny with D mint mark tells us this coin was struck at the Denver Mint. The small letter D beneath the date identifies its origin, distinguishing it from pennies struck in Philadelphia, which did not carry a mint mark at that time. During the mid-1940s, Denver was a major producer of Lincoln cents, supplying coins that circulated widely throughout the United States. The metal composition of the 1946 wheat penny is primarily copper, with small amounts of tin and zinc. After World War II ended, the U.S. Mint returned to using its standard copper alloy for pennies. This makes coins from the late 1940s both durable and visually appealing, even decades after they passed out of circulation. Over the years, these pennies naturally develop a brown or reddish-brown tone from handling and environmental exposure. Coins kept in circulation long enough tend to show contact marks, minor dents, and surface scratches, all of which are part of their individual story. When a coin is described as being in good condition, it generally means that it has seen noticeable circulation wear, but the major design details are still clear and identifiable. On this 1946 D penny, Lincoln's portrait remains distinguishable, though the high points, such as the cheek and hair, are worn down from use. The date and the motto, "In God We Trust," are still readable, even if they are softened by years of handling. On the reverse, the wheat stalks show signs of wear and flattening, but the overall design remains visible. Some light scratches and surface marks may be present, but they are consistent with typical wear from decades spent in circulation. Now let's talk about the value of this coin in today's auction and collector market. A 1946 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny with D mint mark, in good condition with some scratches, typically sells for around 20 cents to $1. Coins that have more appealing color and fewer distracting marks may garner closer to the higher end of that range, while coins with heavier or deeper scratches, dull surfaces, or lesser eye appeal often settle toward the lower end. Because the 1946 D penny was produced in large numbers and many examples still exist, its value remains modest in the collector market, with condition being the primary factor that influences price. Collectors who focus on Lincoln wheat penny sets often include coins like the 1946 D as essential pieces for a complete collection. Even though it is not rare, a well-preserved, good-condition example is valuable for set completion and educational purposes. Many collectors enjoy wheat pennies because they represent everyday money used by everyday Americans, making them relatable and historically meaningful. Color also plays an important role in a coin's appeal and value. Most circulated 1946 wheat pennies are classified as brown, which is typical for coins that have aged naturally through handling and environmental exposure. Some coins retain hints of red or red-brown toning, typically seen only on lightly circulated examples, and those coins may bring a small premium if they display an attractive overall appearance. However, coins in standard brown color with even wear remain steady in collector demand because they represent the classic look of a circulated wheat penny. Collectors are generally advised not to clean coins with harsh chemicals, abrasives, or polishing tools. Cleaning can remove the original surface and natural toning, leaving the coin with an unnatural finish and reducing its collectible value. Even coins with scratches and circulation wear are usually preferred to cleaned examples because they retain original surfaces and authentic circulation history.
Next up, the 1985 USA Washington $quarter coin with P mint mark is a fascinating example of modern American coinage, representing a period when the Washington Quarter series was firmly established and widely circulated. This particular coin is described as being in extra fine condition with some scratches, showing that it has been used in everyday transactions, but still retains most of its original detail. While it is not made of silver, it remains of interest to collectors because of its historical context, condition, and the fact that it carries the Philadelphia mint mark, which adds to its numismatic identification. A common misconception about coins like this is that they contain silver. Although this quarter has a silver-like appearance, the 1985 Washington quarter is not made of silver. Silver quarters were only produced for circulation up until 1964. Beginning in 1965, the U.S. Mint switched to a copper-nickel-clad composition, which consists of a pure copper core sandwiched between two outer layers of copper-nickel. This gives the coin a bright, silvery appearance while making it practical and durable for everyday circulation. As a result, the 1985 quarter, like all regular circulation quarters from 1965 onward, contains no silver and is considered a copper nickel-clad coin. The P Mint mark on this coin indicates that it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. In 1985, both Philadelphia and Denver mints produced quarters for circulation, while proof coins were made at the San Francisco Mint and carried an S Mint mark. Millions of 1985 P quarters were produced, making it a common date in circulation. The coin's condition and eye appeal are what primarily determine its collector interest, rather than rarity, as hundreds of millions of these coins exist. Your coin is described as being in extra fine condition, with some scratches. In coin grading terms, extra fine, XF, means that the coin shows only light wear on the highest points of the design. Most of Washington's hair and facial details, as well as the eagle's feathers on the reverse, remain clearly defined. The scratches indicate that the coin has circulated, which is normal for coins of this age, but they do not significantly detract from the coin's collectible status. Coins in extra fine condition are often sought after by collectors who are building date and mint sets, as they retain most design details without the premium cost of uncirculated coins. In today's auction and collector market, a 1985 P Washington quarter in extra fine condition generally sells for 25 cents to about $100, reflecting its status as a common circulation coin. Coins with attractive natural toning or minimal surface marks may fetch slightly higher prices, but the majority trade near face value. Higher values are achieved for coins in uncirculated condition or those that have been professionally graded by services like PCGS or NGC. For example, an uncirculated 1985 P Washington quarter graded MS65 could sell for $50 to $100, while coins in top grades like MS67 or higher might fetch $15 or more. Rare mint errors, such as off-center strikes or double dies, can increase the coin's value significantly, sometimes reaching several $100s, though these are uncommon. Even though this coin is not made of silver and is common, it has historical and educational significance. It represents a time when copper nickel-clad quarters were the standard, when coins from the Philadelphia Mint were widely circulated, and when Washington's image continued to be a symbol of American currency. Each scratch and mark tells a story of circulation and usage, reflecting decades of everyday transactions. Collectors and history enthusiasts often appreciate coins like this, not only for their numismatic value, but also for the tangible connection they provide to the late 19th century.